Now let us discuss another very important part of this chapter, that is chromosomal basis of sex determination. See, always in a progeny, sex is not determined genetically. In certain organisms, it might be decided upon by environmental factors as well. Okay, by the amount of temperature in which the egg was incubated can play a very important role in deciding the sex of the progeny. But here mainly we are going to discuss about where, in which of the species, it is the genes or the chromosomes, they will be deciding the sex of the progeny. Alright, so that's why we call it the chromosomal basis of sex determination. Alright, so see here, the foundation to this chromosomal basis of sex determination was laid down by Henking in 1981. He studied spermatogenesis in a few insects and observed that only 50% of the sperms received a nuclear structure. That means in the spermatogenesis process, only 50% of the sperms were receiving a structure or a nuclear structure, and that was termed as the X body. Alright, later on by like different other scientists, they found that X body was actually a chromosome, and from then onwards it was termed as X chromosome. Alright, later on Stevens, another scientist, discovered Y chromosome, and together Wilson and Stevens in 1905 named X and Y chromosome to be the sex chromosome. Alright, so from then on we know that the sex chromosomes or allosomes, okay, in our body or in the organisms in which sex is determined by chromosomes, they possess two types of chromosome mainly. One set of chromosome which decides the sex is called the allosome or sex chromosome, and other than sex chromosome or other than giving rise to sexual characteristics, all other chromosomes which will decide upon like characteristics which are neutral, which are not sex specific, like say eye color, skin color, height, etc. So all those chromosomes which will not be related to the sex of the progeny, those chromosomes will be known as autosomes. Alright, so we have two types of chromosomes in our body: autosomes which decides the bodily characteristics, and allosomes or sex chromosome that decides the sex specific characteristics. Alright, so X and Y chromosomes from then on, from 1905, were given the category of allosomes or sex chromosomes. Alright, so now let us see what are the different types of chromosomal basis of sex determination all about. Alright, first we are going to discuss male heterogamity. Male heterogamity means here the males of the species will be producing two different types of gametes. Alright, so the sperms will be of two different types. Hence, the sex of the progeny will be decided by the male. Okay, not by the female, because the female will be producing only one type of gamete or will be producing only one type of egg. So in that case, the female is not going to make any decision regarding the sex of the progeny. It will be decided upon by the male. Alright. Now, male heterogamity can be of two types again. First is XXXY type and XXXO type. XXXO and XXXY type. Alright. So, XXXO type means here the female, we usually write the combination of sex chromosome of the female first, and then we write for the male. Okay, so XX is for the female, XO is for the male. Okay, so if we write the genotype of the parents here, okay, suppose these are the parents. For the parents, the genotype will be, the mother's genotype will be AA plus XX. Here AA means autosomes. Okay, apart from the sex chromosome, the mother also has autosomes, isn't it? Which will also remain in pair. So that's why AA plus XX for the female, AA plus XO for the male. Okay, so when gametes will be produced by the parents, from the female, only one type of gamete will be produced, A plus X. Is there any other combination possible? No. But for the male, there are two types of sperms that can be produced, A plus X and A plus O. Here O means 0. Okay, so that means 50% of the sperms will have the X chromosome. 50% of the sperms won't have the X chromosome. Alright? O means 0. Alright? So then if A plus X fuses with another A plus X, in that case the progeny that will be produced will be a female. Right? Will be a girl. And in case it is A plus X fuses with A plus O, in that case the progeny will be a male. Is that clear? AA plus XX being the female, AA plus XO being the male. Alright? So such kind of sex determination where the male produces one, like 50% of the sperms will have X chromosome, 50% won't have X chromosome. Such kind of a sex determination occurs in grasshopper. So examples are very important here. So XXXO type occurs in grasshopper. Alright. Now moving to another type, that is XXXY type. Again, XX is the female, XY is for the male. Alright. So in that case, the parental genotypes here will be AA plus XX for the female, AA plus XY for the male. Right? So in that case, the female will produce only one type of egg, A plus X, and the males will produce two types of sperms, A plus X and A plus Y. So here the males will produce two different types of sperms. One will have X chromosome as the sex chromosome, another will have the Y chromosome. Alright. So if A plus X fuses with a sperm containing A plus X, then the progeny will be a female. And if A plus X fuses with A plus Y, the progeny will be a male. So of course all of you know by now that this type of sex determination occurs in Drosophila as well as human beings. So do remember one very important fact here, that in our society it may be the females who are blamed for a daughter being born in the family, but actually scientifically it is the male who decides the sex of the progeny in human beings and not the female. Alright, understood this much? Now let us move on to the next type of sex determination, that is female heterogamity. So as the name itself suggests, female heterogamity means here the female decides the sex of the progeny and not the male. Okay, how? Because the female here will be producing two types of gametes or two types of eggs. Alright, so it is exactly the opposite of male heterogamity. Now, it can be of two types. Fine, female heterogamity can also be of two types. One is ZWZZ type, another is ZOZZ. Now before we go into discussion, I would want to make one thing very clear to you, that there is nothing called Z chromosome or W chromosome that exists in nature. This is simply a terminology taken so that we can easily differentiate between male heterogamety process and female heterogamety process. Suppose if here also instead of Z and W, we would have used the term X and Y itself. In that case, can you say in the question or anywhere if it is asked, can you easily determine whether we are talking about male heterogamety process or female heterogamety? No, right? It creates a lot of confusion. So that any such confusion does not occur, that's why for female heterogamety, instead of X and Y, we are using the terms Z and W. Alright, but Z chromosome and W chromosome does not exist. Do remember that and do make yourself clear about it. Alright, so now let's start with the first one, ZWZZ type. Here ZW denotes the female and ZZ for the male. Alright, so the genotype of the parents here will be AA plus ZW for the female, two types of sex chromosome you can see here for the female, and AA plus ZZ for the male. Alright, so the female here will produce two types of gametes, A plus Z and A plus W, whereas for the male it will be only one type of sperm produced, A plus Z. So if A plus Z fuses with another A plus Z, it will be of course a male, and if A plus W fuses with A plus Z, it would be directly a female. Alright, this process is exactly the opposite of XXXY type actually. Okay, and it occurs in birds. Fine. Now the next one is ZOZZ type, which is exactly the opposite of XXXO type. Alright. Now see here, the parental genotypes would be AA plus ZW and AA plus ZZ. Okay, AA plus ZW for, AA plus ZO for the female and AA plus ZZ for the male. Alright. Now see, the gametes produced by the female here will be A plus Z and A plus O, where O means 0. Whereas for the male, it will be A plus Z. Alright. So if A plus Z fuses with another A plus Z, it would be a resultant progeny will be a male. And in case A plus O fuses with A plus Z, the resultant progeny will be a female. Alright. Such a type of sex determination occurs in the butterflies and in the moths. So that's all regarding male and female heterogamity. I hope all of you are clear about it. Now let's move on to another very interesting type of sex determination, which is the sex determination in honeybees, also known as haplodiploid sex determination. See, in honeybees, it's not the presence of a particular chromosome that decides the sex of a progeny. Rather, it's the ploidy of the organism or the progeny that decides its sex. Alright. So what I mean to say is that here, if the progeny is haploid, in that case it's a male. And if the progeny is going to be diploid, it's going to be a female. As simple as that. Males will be haploid and females will be diploid. Alright. So hence we call it haplodiploid sex determination. Alright. So now see here how sex determination in honeybee actually occurs. So see, the parents here will be as such. The female will be diploid and the male will be haploid. So the female has 32 chromosomes, whereas the male has 16 chromosomes. Alright. Interestingly, when the gametogenesis takes place, the female produces its gamete by meiosis, whereas the male produces its gametes by mitosis. Alright, that's a very, very interesting or important thing about the haplodiploid sex determination that you should remember. The female produces gametes by meiosis, whereas the male produces it by mitosis. Alright, so the resultant gametes will have 16 chromosomes. 16 chromosome in the egg, 16 chromosome in the sperm. Right? Now, in case the egg do not undergo fertilization and directly by parthenogenesis, if it gives rise to a progeny, the progeny will be haploid, isn't it? And then directly it will result into a male, alright? Whereas in case the egg fuses with the sperm, syngamy takes place, the resultant progeny will be diploid. So it will be directly giving rise to a female. Alright? So as simple as that is haplodiploid sex determination. So what is very interesting about haplodiploid sex determination is that here the male that is being produced, it does not have a father because it has not been produced by fusion of gamete, isn't it? So it does not have a father and cannot bear sons, but definitely it has a grandfather and can bear grandsons. Isn't it interesting? So that's all regarding sex determination process. I hope all of you are clear about it. In the next class, we're going to start another important topic, that is mutation. Thank you.